What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and I just got done watching Season 7, Episode 9 of Star Wars The Clone Wars, entitled Old Friends Not Forgotten. For those of you who have or have not been following along with Season 7 of The Clone Wars, this is actually the first episode of the final 4-episode arc of The Clone Wars ever, and it revolves around the Siege of Mandalore. Now, that's not a secret. We've known that for a long time. We've even had a bunch of storyboards put out there. We know basically what happens through this entire arc, as well as even some rough animation. So a lot of these things are not new and have even been referenced in a lot of other Star Wars material, such as Star Wars Rebels, the Ahsoka novel, things like that. But I'm going to give you my thoughts about it, spoiler-free first, before I get into the spoiler part of the review. Now, this episode, I will give credit where credit is due. It looks incredible. It sounds incredible. You can tell they really went all out on the animation for this. You can tell that right from the beginning when you see a very brief moment of General Grievous, which people are going nuts over. You can see it in the opening scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin. You can see just the attention to detail that they put in the animation. Now, a lot of the score and things like that are really intended to tug on your heartstrings and make you think about Revenge of the Sith, which is what really this arc is going to be all about, leading up to Revenge of the Sith. So they did a really good job with those things. If you are someone who thinks that Ahsoka is the greatest Star Wars character ever created, you will probably love this episode and this whole arc, because it's very clear that that's what it's about. Ahsoka, who was 13 when we started the Clone Wars 2 or 3 years ago, is now basically the best. She knows better than everybody. She makes all the right choices. She is going to go and defeat anybody she wants. That's just the way it is. So if you like that, you're really going to like this arc. As far as the episode, like I said, I knew what this story was going to be already, so there weren't too many surprises, but you do get some cool snippets. Like I said, it leads you up to Revenge of the Sith, so you get to see where certain Jedi are right before lead up to Revenge of the Sith, which for a lot of people are really invested in that. I think that it's clear it's a really well-made episode, and a lot of time and money went into not only developing the score, but also developing that animation. As far as the story, there are still things that are very Clone Wars about it. Again, that's not a good thing in my book. However, the meat of the episode is solid. It's by far and away the best episode of Season 7. There's not a doubt about that. You will probably hear a ton of people saying it's the greatest episode of the Clone Wars ever. I will say it's the greatest looking episode for sure. And to be honest, in my opinion, you guys know if you watch this channel, I think that's probably a pretty low bar. But it is a very solid episode, and a lot of people are going to love it. But one of my big problems is I just can't believe that any of this actually happened. Without going into too much detail, if these moments between Ahsoka and Anakin with Obi-Wan involved had actually happened, I find it really hard to believe that we didn't hear about it, moments later during Revenge of the Sith at any point in time. Now, let's get into spoilers. Now, when I said they're going to rely heavily on nostalgia and everything, from the very beginning, they put up the Lucasfilm Limited production. This is basically Dave Filoni's movie. That's kind of how the feeling you're supposed to get about it. And then in the beginning, instead of the Clone Wars music, they play the traditional Star Wars opening music. Not the changed version that is very uniquely Clone Wars. They play the Star Wars fanfare. That's what we have at the beginning. And then we get a setup where we get to know where everyone is at. We get a little Kanan Jarrus retcon. We see a hologram of Kanan Jarrus there with all the masters while they're meeting at the war, because it's a Dave Filoni character and he has to make sure you know that, my character is a very important part of this too. So we get that in there. We also get to see Plo Koon and Aayla Secura, on the planets that they're going to be on when Revenge of the Sith eventually happens and Order 66 comes to fruition. So a lot of people were excited to see that. Now, the episode basically begins on Urbana with a face-off between the droids and Obi-Wan and his clone commandos, and it doesn't go well. Obi-Wan gets backed into a corner, and Anakin shows up and basically says, "Why are you hiding? There's only 1,000 droids there." And of course, Anakin has a plan. There's a little banter between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Again, very similar to a lot of the rest of the stuff we have seen in the Clone Wars. And then Anakin says, don't worry, I've got a plan. He heads out there, and I thought that this was a great start to this episode. I was like, all in my eye. I mean, it sounds great. It looks incredible. And then Anakin says, ceasefire, I surrender. And all of the droids, which, let's be fair, the droids are stupid in the Clone Wars. That's part of it. It's a lot of where the humor comes from. And to be fair, they're not the smartest in the movies. That's where some humor comes from in the movies as well. But this is above and beyond. Anakin goes out there and says, ceasefire, I surrender. And all the droids immediately listen to him and stop. And it's basically a ploy to get the tactical droid to show his face, and Anakin's able to kill him, while then the 501st come, and they all have jetpacks conveniently.
They fly now? They fly now!
They fly now, evidently, and the 501st comes and just wrecks everybody's shit. Now, again, I didn't like that because there's no way that those droids would stop firing just because a Jedi says cease fire. They're there trying to destroy clones. They're there trying to destroy Jedi. I know they're stupid. This is beyond stupid. It doesn't make any sense, but that's fine. Obi-Wan and Anakin get a comm from Admiral Yularen saying that someone is using the code Fulcrum, and it's not Saw Gerrera. They even mention that. Again, trying to die. That's one thing that has happened during Season 7 of the Clone Wars. They have very intimately tied it in with both the Solo movie and Rogue One, and also Jedi Fallen Order a little bit, I guess. With the mention of Saw Gerrera. And of course we had the Darth Maul mention of Crimson Dawn, which again ties very uniquely into the Solo movie. And of course we all know who it's expected to be, and they get up there and it is Ahsoka who's been using that code. She's on a hologram with Bo-Katan. Ahsoka basically is very calm, cool, and collected, while Anakin is extremely frazzled and disjointed and can't really keep his thoughts together. And Ahsoka is very regal and mature. Of course she's 16 years old now, so she knows everything. And basically says, we need your help. They go there to meet them. Obi-Wan is remaining skeptical of what they need, and Ahsoka and Bo-Katan and a bunch of other Mandalorians come out. Of course, Bo-Katan has her helmet off because Mandalorians always have their helmet off in Clone Wars and TCW, despite the fact that the Mandalorian tries to tell us that they don't. And Ahsoka and Bo-Katan basically come to Obi-Wan and Anakin and say, we need your help. We know Maul is on Mandalore. He is basically controlling a lot of Mandalore. Prime Minister Almec is his puppet. He has all of his Maul Mandalorian commandos there, including Gar Saxon and Rook, who we will see later. Bo-Katan says, we can't hold a siege on this planet without more forces. We're asking the Republic to help. And of course, Obi-Wan says, we have to consider it. The Council will be the ones to decide. Anakin and Ahsoka then have a moment where they're in private after everyone leaves, and very touching for a lot of people because Anakin and Ahsoka's relationship. And Anakin says, come on, I got a surprise for you. And we have seen this, again, we've seen the rough animation of this, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to people, but somehow it does. He leads her into a room with Rex and a bunch of the 501st, and they're all wearing orange face, as I like to call it. They've painted their helmets to look like Ahsoka's face because they care about Ahsoka so much. Interesting, they never did that for Anakin. They never did that for anyone else, but Ahsoka deserves that kind of respect because Ahsoka is the best. Us as this is happening, and Anakin's basically saying, I want to give you the 501st. I want us to help Mandalore. I want you to help Mandalore. Obi-Wan comes rushing in and says, there's been an attack. It's General Grievous. He's attacking Coruscant. He's after the Chancellor, essentially. And they say, we have to go. Ahsoka starts lecturing Obi-Wan like he's a 5-year-old child because Ahsoka is the best. Ahsoka knows everything. Ahsoka always knows the right thing to do, right? And Obi-Wan's just a bitch. Basically how it sounds. She says, you're choosing the Chancellor. You're just playing politics as always. Of course, when literally the capital of the Republic is being attacked by all of the forces of the CIS, you think that the Jedi and that the 501st have to go and protect Coruscant and protect the Chancellor. But Ahsoka is very concerned. She knows they're just playing politics. And eventually Anakin comes up with a solution. Let's split the 501st in half. Again, we know all of this because of the celebration panels. We know this because of the Ahsoka. We know what happened already. You were just seeing it play out on screen. And Anakin says, let's split the 501st. Half of them will go with Ahsoka. Half of them will come back there with us to go to Coruscant. And obviously that's leading into right into the beginning of Revenge of the Sith with Anakin and Obi-Wan. But the rest of this episode is about Ahsoka. So Ahsoka takes half the 501st, goes to Mandalore with Bo-Katan and some of the other Mandalorians. They start to invade the city, while Prime Minister Almec directs Gar Saxon and Aruk to protect the city. And there's a little battle in the air where all the 501st conveniently still have those jetpacks that they had at the beginning of the episode, because all the Mandalorians have jetpacks as well. There's a fight in the sky. Again, everything looks great. The lightsaber animation looks great. The battles, the explosions, everything looks incredible. They spent a lot of money on animating this. I forgot something. Anakin gives Ahsoka her lightsabers back. Good as new. Well, maybe a little bit better. And what he means by that is when she grabs them, they are blue now. Again, the way that Disney has treated lightsaber colors is very strange. This was a concern that a lot of people had because Ahsoka's lightsabers are blue in the Ahsoka novel. They're described as blue, and she also buries her original lightsaber. So it's like, how does she get those? Anakin did give her those. Now, whether this was retcon, whether it was planned the whole time, no idea. I'm not going to speculate. But Ahsoka's lightsabers are now blue, and it is her original lightsaber hilts. But they go and they battle. Ahsoka's like, I don't need a jetpack. And she's just like hopping in the sky between ships, slaughtering Mandalorians, making these epic stands. These Anakin level, I would call them like Anakin level moves. That's what she's doing because Ahsoka has just been OP as all get out. That's always been such an issue I have with her. She's incredible, right? She's absolutely incredible. And everyone's, looking up to her. Bo-Katan and her standing side by side, fighting other Mandalorians, shit like that. Then Bo-Katan goes to invade the throne room, get Prime Minister Almec, and Almec basically says, Maul knew what was going on the whole time. It's exactly what he said would happen, but you brought the wrong Jedi. And so Ahsoka, as this is happening, is going down in the sewers, saying that Gar Saxon and Rook fled into these sewers. So there's a bunch of clones with her. They go into the sewers. Bo-Katan realizes the ambush, but she cannot get a hold of Ahsoka. Again, remember, Maul has set up this ambush for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So as Ahsoka goes down there, she is somehow unable to sense the dozens of Mandalorians that are down there with ill intent, who want to kill them. She doesn't sense them there. They get ambushed, and basically all the clones get killed down there, and she's surrounded at the end, and then you see a shadowy figure walk up, and it is Maul. He says, I was hoping for Kenobi, but you'll do. Again, this is a trap set for Obi-Wan Kenobi by Darth Maul. Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ahsoka walks into it. I'm pretty sure, I have a feeling that Ahsoka is going to be just fine. So again, even when they're ready for Jedi Master Kenobi, Ahsoka can get out of it because she's just the best. Overall, like I said, the episode was really solid. It looked incredible. It sounded incredible. A lot of attention and detail went into this episode. There's no doubt. But it reminds me a lot of The Force Awakens and the way people reacted to The Force Awakens because they pull at your nostalgia. They play that opening fanfare. They put Lucasfilm Limited production on front like it's an actual movie. They give you all these little name drops and things like that to be, hey, remember this person? Remember when Plo Koon died right here? Remember Aayla Secura who died right here? Remember Revenge of the Sith, guys? That's what it really reminds me of. And again, I've said the whole time that I think the Siege of Mandalore arc is going to be the best arc of the Clone Wars because so much is writing and so much is built up to it. But we will continue to see. And the episode ends basically with Maul and Ahsoka facing off. All the clones dead, her surrounded by Mandalorians. Again, we know how this ends up, guys. I won't spoil it for you now, but it's been available for a long time if you want to know how this final face-off ends. But we will see. Hopefully we get to see more of Anakin and Obi-Wan, those characters. But again, it's just going to be more Ahsoka. One of my issues with Ahsoka was just like how stuck up she was and like how mature she was. We didn't get to see, I don't feel like the walkabout arc with her and the Martez sisters is enough to really get her to that point from leaving the Jedi Order to where she is now. But that's just me. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me. But do remember that I did say this is probably the best episode of the Clone Wars, and this will probably be the best arc of the Clone Wars ever. But a lot of people are caught up in the hype right now. There's no doubt that a lot of people saying that Dave Filoni who's the next George Lucas. Yeah, we've heard that for a long time. We know that's not the case. We know who Dave Filoni is. And yeah, no one's going to change my mind about that, just being honest. And I think when you factor in Ahsoka's role in this and Bo-Katan's role in this final arc, and then you look at Dave Filoni's comments about the matriarchy subverting the patriarchy, things make a little more sense. But I'm interested to know what you guys think about this episode. I think a lot of people are really going to like it. You're going to be hearing tons of praise for it for a long time. But what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Think about becoming a member. I do have that join button now. Share this video out there, ring the notification bell, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.